luxury love.
Hi, my name is Ian Nelson, and this is an interview for Sound of Series. Honestly, I feel really excited. It's kind of a crazy uh, experience because I never really, the music aspect of my career kind of came in a very organic and natural process where it just, you know, it all feels very authentic to me. It feels very natural that it's happening, but it's also, it's crazy that it's actually here. We're getting really close and it's fun. I'm having a very good time with all of the prep and um, I'm enjoying it. The lush, it's like lush. Um, explosive. Beautiful. I think it's a beautiful song. It's got some wonderful harmonies in there that we're very proud of. I mean, the challenge honestly was, so I recorded the song probably about a year ago, a little less than a year ago. Um, you know, and then I went home for the holidays. This is last year. I came back to LA, and then, almost immediately, the, the pandemic happened, and so we were all just stuck in quarantine. And I was talking to Colin Stark, a photographer in Los Angeles who I work with quite often. We were going to do a music video, and then when the quarantine hit, we were like, why don't we just go shoot in LA because no one's on the streets. So getting to your question, because I'm really good at rambling. Um, so to answer your question, the challenge was first shooting a music video during a pandemic. It was a 2-person crew. It was just me and him, and a camera, and the song. And we essentially just, we went out and we had an idea. It was inspired by the Yellow video by Coldplay, just to do a one take, the whole thing, just a one take, just very, simple concept, not simple to execute, but simple in theory. And so the difficulty of that was obviously shooting a one take, showing up when the light was absolutely perfect, waiting till a moment where the street was relatively empty. And then the challenges during the pandemic was doing post-production, during a pandemic, doing post-production in the room with like colorists and visual effects artists and sound designers is hard enough. But like when you're giving notes over email and when you're having to wait a day to receive like a saturation edit in the color, it's a very frustrating and long process. So the post-production took a very long time. I would say that was the hardest part of the music video and the release. But I think the pandemic has been, I think it's been pretty prevalent online. You've seen like musicians making a ton of music right now, because it's kind of the perfect storm. You have isolation. You don't have as many outside distractions in terms of like, for me as an actor, there was a period there was a very long time during that quarantine where there was just the idea of acting was a very foreign concept. So it was almost like I could work on my music, on my guitar playing, with no fear of being interrupted. So I think it's been a very fruitful time. Although, I mean, it's a fine line because it's been such a stressful time in the world. The United States has been going through, just abject turmoil. Really, it's been one catastrophe after the next. But in a weird way, that's actually a very good time to make art because there's a lot of feelings in the ether, and there's a lot that needs to be said in a very healthy, constructive, and healing way. Yeah, definitely. We got some really exciting ones coming out. And I shot the music video for our second song the other day, a couple weeks ago. And it's fun. It's just so fun. I'm really having a blast. Going on tour would be like probably Gary Clark Jr. Would probably be a person I'd love to go on tour with, simply because like his music has been such an inspiration to me. And I mean, like, I think like John Mayer, you know, like someone who I could learn from. I think there's something like, not necessarily someone to like teach me, but someone that I could observe and learn from. And I think that's the whole fun of being uh, kind of like being in a creative field. I think is that you're constantly surrounded by people who are at the top of their game and what they do. So I feel like, you know, one of my favorite things is beginner's mind, like the concept of beginner's mind. So it's like if I can just be around people, you know, who are excellent at what they do, I think that's kind of like the dream. So before this single, I had written I think 3 songs.
Mhm.
Um, I had written 3 songs, and I brought a demo that I'd made while I was on set of a film in upstate New York. I'd made a demo when I came back to Los Angeles. I shared it with my voice teacher, and he introduced me to a producer in Los Angeles named Jacob McCaslin. So I went to meet up with Jacob, and we were just gonna do a demo for this random song that I'd written. It was a fine song. There wasn't anything super special about it, but um, the day before, I was playing around with this like idea for like a really gritty thing. So it was like a song, and the original it was like, but there were like 3 verses. There it wasn't a full song, so I played that for Jacob, and the song started with "I fell in love with you on a screen." That was the first lyric of the song. So instead of doing a demo together, we just decided to produce the entire track. So the creative process was really just bringing the song to Jacob. Jacob is an amazing guitarist, an amazing producer, and we just developed the track together. Um, and it was awesome. That was the process for the first one. Typically, I mean, for 21st Century Love, it was late at night. You know, it was late at night. Um, Typically, it's. I mean, I think the thing with like whatever you want to call like inspiration, I think of songs and I think of like even acting performances. They're kind of like relationships. You know, you have to nurture the relationship. You have to be present with it. You have to listen. You have to be very sensitive to what it needs, and it also requires commitment too. So like for songs, I find that when inspiration strikes, it's typically because I've been working when there's been no inspiration, you know, where I'm just sort of like, I have no ideas, and I'm just sort of sitting there and I'm just like, ah, man, I don't know if this is a song, but um, yeah, for 21st Century Love, it was late at night. And the first thing was I Fell in Love with You on a Screen. That was like that was the first idea. Broadway. It's coming. It's happening. I just don't know when.
Oh, it's
But,
happening.
oh, it's happening. We're gonna make
Yeah.
it happen. It's so I started off as an actor in like musical theater, um, and Broadway has been like, I think like stage performing is kind of the holy grail, um, because there's something so present about it. Very similar to a one take, like doing a one take, like our music video. You have to be completely present that whole time, and like that's only about 4.5 minutes. But to do a stage play is the absolute, I mean, holy grail of acting, in my opinion. I mean, you look at the greatest actors of all time; they all excelled on the stage, like Al Pacino, Marlon Brando. Um, I'm missing so many of them, but those are the 2 on the top of my mind. Mark Ruffalo got his start. I think he did This Is Our Youth. I think in London. I think was his his major breakthrough. I think. Anyway, I mean, it's different. You know, I don't know how the music's going to be received. I'm very lucky. I have a great community on like my social media platforms. Like everyone is so nice. um, so I think like, but I don't know how they're going to accept my music. It's a whole nother territory. So I'm not saying it's like, I don't think it's very stressful. Um, I think the stressful aspect is, you know, just doing the preparation to make sure everything's in place. Um, you know, it's releasing a song is not easy. It takes a lot of planning. A lot of decisions have to be made, and music is not an easy industry. There's a lot of it's very different than acting. And I've had a big learning curve with that. So I think that's been where the if there's any stress, that's where it's been. Yeah. So I have a film that's going to film festivals right now called Paper Spiders. And Paper Spiders is it's a really beautiful movie about a mother and a daughter, and the mother is suffering from a mental illness called delusion disorder, and so it's very similar to paranoia. And the movie's about the daughter navigating her relationship with her mother. I play her daughter's boyfriend, who is dealing with his own illness in terms of addiction to alcohol. And it's one of the best roles I've ever gotten to play. It was one of the greatest filming experiences that I've gotten to do. So I'm really excited for that to come out soon. We'll probably know its distribution plans. I would think relatively soon. We'll know where it's gonna end up.